Hey everyone, welcome back to Whizbit's Random Gaming. I'm Tony Whizbit and this is my Thursday video. As I mentioned earlier in one of my previous videos, we are going to be changing the format of the channel in 2025 ever so slightly. We're going to be doing the game hunts on a Monday, and we're going to be doing a sit down discussion talking type video on Thursdays. There'll be bonus content throughout the week occasionally, but most of my gameplay video is now going to be on my secondary channel, which is Whizbit's Random Gameplay. You can find a link for that in the description below. Much appreciated if you guys could head on over there, check it out, see what you think. At the moment I'm just uploading archive footage from this channel, some previous gameplay stuff, just so that I've got some sort of library, and then we're going to be building upon that. I've started Astrobot. That's the first game that I'm doing a walkthrough / full game tour of on that channel, and also Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. So there will be some new games as well as the old stuff as well. Anyway, this is the first video that I'll be doing on a regular basis on a Thursday, where I'm just discussing gaming and stuff like that, various subjects. And this week's subject is, I think I might regret this, I'm going for a full set. Now, I'm not someone that really does the whole full set thing. It's not really something I've ever really wanted to do, but I think where it's possible and where it's achievable, I wouldn't mind now thinking about having 1 or 2 full sets in my collection of games. Now, I'm currently on course for a full set of Evercade, unless randomly I drop behind. At the moment I'm up to date, and that gives me the luxury, depending on the release that comes out, of being able to order games as and when they come out and stay on top of that collection. I'm not really chasing that collection. I've done well. I started early on that and I stayed ahead of the game. But the second one that I'm going to be going for, it's going to be a Nintendo franchise, a Nintendo console. And in all honesty, I am going to be going for the easiest one. I say easiest, it's still not really that easy, but I'm going to be going for a full set in 2025 for the Wii U. Now wait, a lot of people will be thinking, why? I think the Wii U is a pretty underrated system. I understand why it gets the flack that it gets. There was a lot of things that weren't done correctly with the Wii U, let's all be honest. It was that kind of bridge console between the Wii and what we've got today with the Switch. It didn't work. It wasn't marketed very well. Your casual buyers didn't know what Nintendo was selling, in my opinion. I think they just had a look at it and saw what they believed to be an extension of the Nintendo Wii. For that reason, I think a lot of people just tuned out and thought, I've already got one of those, why do I need another? And I understand why, because even as someone that's a gamer like myself, when I first saw the marketing campaign for the Wii U, I didn't quite get it. I don't think it was explained too well. So if someone like me who's quite interested really didn't quite grasp what they were trying to sell to me, what's a mum and dad going to think when they're looking to buy presents for Christmas? They're going to think, that's not for me, I've already got something similar. It's not something new. You know, that could happen to the Switch too, in all honesty, but that's another conversation for another day. So yeah, I'm going to be going for the Nintendo Wii U full set. I've been gradually buying games on that console since early 2024 when I was lucky enough to find a white one for sale for £40. Now I thought it was a bit of a scam at first, to be honest with you. It was in really good condition, and I thought there's no way that someone is selling this for £40 with the tablet as well. However, I went ahead, I took the risk, and it all worked out. The seller was really good, very gracious. I'm quite dubious about Vinted at the best of times. Yeah, I've got my reasons. It's a great place, don't get me wrong, there's some really good sellers on there. But I've seen a lot of horror stories. I've just been quite lucky myself to not have experienced something like that so far myself. But yeah, it came through. All works fine, really good condition. So I gradually started buying Wii U games. Now, one of the things about the Wii U that I've seen before I purchased the actual console was that its library that you used to go, if you go into a CEX, and it's rare that they've got a lot of games in CEX. You know, you might find a few. It's not one of those systems that they have an abundance of stocking. I'm sure some shops that you go to will have a lot, but you know, it's few and far between, let's be honest. I looked and I thought there's a lot of cheap games there, and I quite like the blue spines. I think they look really nice displayed from a collector's point of view. And there was some really good games as well, you know, really cheap, like your Mario 3D World, Mario Kart, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Now all of these games were like under £10, £6, £8, and yes, I know I can get Switch alternatives, and in most cases I already have got the Switch alternatives. But I thought for that money, might be a nice collection to start. I didn't really know at the time some of the prices of some of the games are available on the Wii U. That only came over time as I looked into the subject matter a little bit more. So I did start looking around, and I think the highest price game in CEX anyway is the Shmup Collection, and I think that's £195. I own that on the Switch, which I think I've got for around about £40. Really good collection actually, and yeah, it's going to be painful having to pay £195 for that one unless I can find that a lot cheaper, or make a deal with someone, or do some kind of trade. But that's not the only game that's going to be quite painful on this journey. For every good game that's on this system, the more I've researched it, I might end up regretting the decision to go for this at some point. There's some really expensive games on this system, and it's literally down to the fact that they didn't sell. It's nothing to do with their quality. And I think the most notorious one is going to be the Zumba game on the Wii U. Very limited run on that game. At one point it was £100. It's not now, it's dropped to £85. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah, I can't wait for that one. That's going to be a voucher purchase, unless I find somebody online that really doesn't know what they've got and I get lucky one day. I don't think it's going to happen in this day and age. Very rarely do them kind of deals come around anymore. Everyone checks and cross-references before they sell stuff on any kind of app, Facebook Marketplace, anywhere you can sell stuff. People are a lot more savvy to what's out there these days, and understandably so. I'm not knocking it. You've got something, you want what it's worth. For people though that match CEX's prices and stuff like that as someone that's just selling via an app, the only thing I would say is, one, your postage is probably more than CEX. Two, you offer me no warranty. Yeah, I'd say in order to start and keep selling, for me, if I was selling, I'll drop the price by a few pounds. Yeah, I know what I've got, I know what I could get. If you want to sell it and you're up against chain stores like CEX, I think the smart way to do it is to drop it by a couple of pounds. Charity shops need to learn the same as well. Charity shops, I'm all for it, and I would love to buy more from charity shops But when you price like matching with CEX, and sometimes even charging more than CEX, it ain't gonna work. That's why you go into a lot of charity shops and you'll see games sitting on the shelf. You know, you'll see a whole stock of FIFAs just running across your shelf because some brain box has told them charge £7 for that particular year. I hope you're going to be stuck with them unless someone wants to pay that much money for spare cases. But yeah, there's a lot of games on the Wii U that are quite expensive that I really tap, to be honest with you. Hello Kitty Cruisers is one. Almost bought that the other day. Now, I don't know. I had my son with me. I didn't want him to see me buy it. Can you imagine the roasting I would have got on the way home? That's how me and my eldest are. You know, we have a lot of banter. And yeah, he definitely would have come out on top of that night if he'd have seen me pick up Hello Kitty Cruisers, especially for £50. Now, it would have been a voucher purchase. I don't intend on going into buying these stupid expensive games with cash. It's not my intention at all. But you've got The Croods as well, which is a multiplayer game from the cartoon movie The Croods, understandably. That was a £50 game at one point. It's now down to 35. Even that's fairly painful, but I'll get round to getting that soon. There's some really bad ones. The Zumba one as well, like I said, £85. There's some Barbie games on the system that are around about anything between £20 to £50. I think there's a Barbie range. You can see that the Wii U struggled to get third-party support when you've got games like Barbie on it, and being quite highly priced as well. Monster High, things like that. Some of these games, like, and the amount of Just Dance games on there. I've been holding off from buying the Just Dance games on the Wii U for some time, but I've got to get round to it at some point. So, admittedly so, I started on Saturday with Just Dance 2016, with plenty more to follow. So yeah, I'm going to get them out of the way now. They are one of the titles that seem to be in stock in a lot of the CEXs that you go to. It was probably one of the better selling games on the entire system. Just Dance pretty much sells on everything, doesn't it? So yeah, they're easy to get hold of. So I'm going to start. I've started, might as well finish, get them all in. No pain, no gain. Okay? And then we're going to start trying to get a few more of those poor titles in. I'm on 71 or 72 Wii U games currently, and I believe there's 163 games that's achievable in the PAL set. So, you know, not too far off being halfway. I've got my list all drawn out, and yeah, a lot of my game hunts that I'm going to be doing throughout the course of this year, markets that I go to, it's now giving me a little bit of focus for some of the games to go and look for. Myself as a collector, I needed a bit of focus. I didn't know what I was buying for at one point. I was just buying 360 stuff, PlayStation 2 stuff, and I just didn't feel that I had any real focus. So I wanted to have a little bit of focus, and I thought that it gives me something to go for in 2025, and that's buying this tap on the Wii U. Yeah, anyway, but I mean, look, there's some terrible stuff on there that really no one wants to be paying any money for. I've paid very small amounts of money for these games, in all honesty. I've done my best to keep it as low as possible. Got Wii Fit U, which I might actually try. January 2025, everyone needs to get fit. It's not going to happen, but you know, you can always have good intentions. Skylanders, things like that. I need it for the full set. Got no intention of ever opening this. But on the flip side of that, there's a couple of hidden gems that I've found whilst looking on this system. You know, shout out to my friend Benny, aka Uncle Benny. Sold me this probably about a year ago for around about £20 to £25. It's gone up to be a £50 game now, and that is Transformers Rise of the Dark Spark. I've played this very briefly. Quite fun. Not a bad game whatsoever. It exceeded my expectations, let's just put it that way. Not one you see too often, I've learned from Benny before he sold it to me. So he knew in advance, but yet he still gave me a really, really good deal. So thanks for that. And yeah, since then it's gone up, but you don't see it in your shops too often. So really glad to have something like that in the collection straight away. Now this is one as well. It was a little bit more expensive, but it's dropped ever so slightly recently to £40. And a friend of mine, Kyle, was in Derby and he went to Derby CEX to pick this up for me. It's Derby CEX. If you know the reputation of that shop, then yeah, you would imagine that his experience wasn't great. So Kyle, I really appreciate that. Just sending over the vouchers to Carl in order to pay for this. Staff there made it quite difficult. That CEX seems to have quite the reputation, and I do plan on visiting there to see it for myself in 2025. So keep tuned for that. Need to see what that one's all about. But that game is Devil's Third. Now I've played this probably about an hour or two into it. It feels like an Xbox 360 era type game. When these sort of games were coming out thick and fast on the 360 and the PlayStation 3, I guess. And I quite welcome that because there's not much of that kind of thing on the Wii U. So it was quite a refreshing change to play something like that on the Wii U. Little sleeper hit as well. I bought Snoopy on the Wii U. Actually not a bad platform game, and the same goes for the Smurfs 2, which has really rocketed in price recently. I managed to get that for £10. That's gone up to around about 27, I believe, within the last couple of weeks. But yeah, you would think kids' games going to be quite easy, not much effort put into them. Yeah, I'd say they're easy, but amazingly, there's a fair bit of effort that's been put into those games. Not bad at all. So yeah, 2025, I'm going to be actively collecting for the Wii U. Weekly updates will be on the channel. I'll make a point on my Thursday videos of letting you know if we've taken any steps forward in the collecting. There's no race. I'm in no massive race to get the whole set. It is what it is, and I just want to enjoy the experience as best I can when I'm buying games like Zumba. So yeah, looking forward to getting out there and digging and collecting and looking for games in 2025. So it's going to be the Evercade and it's going to be the Wii U I'm going to be collecting for specifically. The Switch I'll keep collecting for. I love the Switch, and probably going to be getting a Switch 2 on day one if that's feasible. That's going to be quite in demand console. So yeah, it's going to be quite difficult, but if I can, I will be getting that on day one. The whole backwards compatibility thing with the Switch, for me, that sealed it in my eyes as a day one purchase. It's just whether or not fate allows me to pick one up on day one. The only other thing that might stop me is I'm considering potentially holding out for some kind of limited edition, special edition, because we all know Nintendo, they really like to release their special edition stuff. But yeah, it all depends. I mean, I don't want a Splatoon console, I don't want a Zelda console, I'm not an RPG fan. And I definitely don't want a Smash Brothers console. So it's very dependent. Let's see what they come up with at the Nintendo Direct on that one. So guys, let me know what you think. Am I an idiot for collecting the Wii U? I know a lot of people are going to say yes, and I totally understand why you would say that. I'm not going to argue with you. No way. I get it. But yeah, I like collecting different stuff, something that not everyone else is collecting. And the Wii U is definitely something that not that many people are collecting. But yeah, it's going to be interesting having to pay the money for some of the horror games, and then we're going to have to hit the higher price games. Is it Wind Waker? I think it's £158. Then we've got Finding Teddy 2, which is around, depending on where you look, you're going to find that between 150 and 200. And then the Shmuck collection. So there's definitely some high hitters on there. I'm trying to get the ones in first, up a good base. I think I've done that with the 70 plus games and a couple of expensive ones in there as well. But yeah, 2025, the year of the Wii U. Never thought I'd be saying that 12 months ago. Guys, once again, if you like the content, please take the time to consider subscribing to the channel, and also head on over to Wizbit's Random Gameplay, my secondary channel, which is going to be exclusive for gameplay only. We're just building that one up, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. If you could check that one out, if you happen to like gameplay videos, stuff like that, a like, share, sub would be massively appreciated as we try to build that format up. Anyway guys, if you see me out and about, let me know what you think of me collecting for the Wii U. Bye bye for now.